Some of you really dislike this card. And believe me, there's no one that dislikes it more than I do. And I draw this like if it's at 3. It's like if it's at 3 and it's not. And like the best thing about this is that it's a tuner. A tuner that can be discarded off Junk Converter's effect. And at worst, if you play Jester and Caligo, you special Jester, special Caligo, and then you tribute summon them and summon this and hope and pray that they don't interact with this. Because even at that point, you would be grateful that at least you have this to start anything. This gets you to Accel, and then you go for your speeder line, which is, at that point, that's the best out of the worst case scenario. A lot of you have been asking, like, well, what do you do if you don't want to play this? Like, what do you do? Like, what happens? Before Accel Synchro Stardust Dragon, it would be like Omega Pass, right? And then stand by phase return Stardust or Trail, whichever one you felt like, okay, I prefer this engrave for the following turn. Hope for the best. You rip a card on their turn, and maybe it can prevent it from playing and killing you. But that's not an efficient way to play. It's just not. And this is where it could be either Caligo or Carrier. It can work with him because you can choose not to trigger its effect. Okay, so we're excluding the fact that they might have Imprint, they might have Ash, they might have Veiler, because that's besides the point. The point is, if Speeder resolves and they have Nibiru, and you don't play this, that's the point of the video. Okay? If you're anticipating on Nibiru, you don't use his effect. Okay, and I'll be showing you guys why that's so important. Okay, let's start with these two. So you summon, additional summon. Most people don't interact with this guy. I mean, sometimes it's correct too, but most of the time it's just not worth it because you get Speeder's the main one you want to negate. So you Synchro Summon, Peter, Stardust, Jet, Activate Effect, Searching Illumination, and at this point, this is where they have to Nibiru you, right? Everything's gone. Everything's gone here, okay? And all you have now is a token. So then you activate Illumination, sending your Stardust Trail. Typically, we'd be fine with this because for those of us that play Mare mare, we're well aware that this is fine, right? But a lot of you do not like Mare mare, okay? So at the very least, you can break even, at the very least, because you require 2 cards to end on 2 interactions. Use Stardust Effect, tribute the token, then you trigger your trail, okay? And then you Synchro Summon to the new Synchro, Accel Synchro Stardust Dragon. Chanting 1, chanting 2, giving you a token. Stardust revive your Jet. And then now you make a Shaman. So this is where it's very important to understand that this does not work with Jester and Stardust. Because you need to have a 2 to actually trigger the effect. Because if there's no 2 in hand or grave, you cannot use that effect. Which that's the best you can do out of a bad situation, okay? So you chain 1, chain 2, search your converter, a special converter, and your carrier from grave. But you can either go 6, this revive a 2, go for an 8, right? Or a Baron, you know, you draw 1. It depends on what you feel, okay? But most of the time, if you want like a certainty, you just go into a Herald. Then your converter will trigger. This is where you can just go for Baron, right? Or you can go into this, reduce this guy, go for an Omega or Crystal Wing. Or you can use both materials and go for a Baron. And at the very least, you broke even. It's technically you plussed. Your opponent used a hand trap, which is Nibiru. So that means he has 4 cards left in hand. You contributed 2 cards to make 2 Omnis, right? And then you end up popping their Nib, right? So you're already netting more cards than they already have, which is still good, but it's not as effective as if we were to go for the Mare mare line, where we would draw more cards to replenish and try to continue our combo. But nonetheless, this is the best out of a worst case scenario, and it's not half bad. It's not, you know, it's not the best, not the worst. It's okay. You know, you broke even with this 2 for 2 compared to an Omega, maybe. Like, it's just, this is better. This is better. But this is what I want to show you guys. Doppel is infinitely better, right? You don't require garnets. It's only those 2 cards, right? You don't require anything else. And in order to mimic what Doppel does, we have to play garnets. We need more cards to function, you know? And that's why the best 2-card combo is with Doppel. And this is like a way to show you guys why Doppel is so important. Even though it's a situational card, it requires setup, it's worth playing. That's basically it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.